Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. For those of you who've been investing for any length of time, you should be familiar with this famous quote from Warren Buffett. A modern meme-like adoption to this idea is the phrase, buy the dip. The implication, of course, being that you're buying an asset when the price has come down. And this phrase didn't just become invented, but it's become a lot more popular recently. The thing is, I'm not so concerned about the actual words and what they mean, but what the people are thinking and feeling and how they're going to react when they actually encounter some sort of a dip and what happens after that. I don't think a lot of the investors who say this phrase are actually mentally prepared. What happens when the dip keeps dipping and dipping and dipping, or it dips and doesn't recover and it trades sideways for quite some time? Again, most of the people who say buy the dip, I fear kind of are expecting that they're going to see noticeable returns within a few weeks or months, but they are not prepared for the fact that sometimes assets take many months or sometimes years for that price to start to correct. These investors are not mentally prepared. The euphoria that comes from shouting buy the dip alongside a bunch of other investors will eventually wear off. And once those feelings do wear off, you're just left with the stock and your objective feelings towards that position. What are you going to do when you're 10 or 15% down on a position after 9 or 12 months? Buy the dip, right? Well, the dip stayed dipped, and now you're left holding this stock. You need to understand this company at a very high level, and you never should have got into this position unless you did your research. Otherwise, you won't know why you're holding what you're holding and why you bought what you bought. You might succumb to some negative feelings and sell the stock at an inopportune time, right? If you liked it at your buy-in price, you should like it even more now that it's down 10 or 15%. If you don't have this conviction, you're not going to take advantage of buying more shares at these reduced prices. I guarantee you, because my friend bought it is not a good enough reason to buy a stock. It's not going to keep you in that position when times are a little bit tough. Right now, the stock market, namely the S&P 500, is at all-time highs. Meanwhile, my portfolio has been floundering about and has been trading down a little bit over the last 5 or 6 months. And it's easy to get discouraged at times like this, but this is when knowing what you owned comes into play. Most of the large cap companies that drive the movement of the overall stock market are doing incredibly well. Their valuations are at or near all-time highs. Meanwhile, small caps, which is most of what I hold in my own portfolio, they've been kind of trading sideways for quite some time, and their valuations are much lower. Now, I understand the companies that I own. I believe in these companies, so I'm not concerned about their long-term prospects. These valuations will push up with time. I don't know exactly when, but I will be here when that time comes. I'm going to be holding these stocks until their stock prices push up towards where the company's intrinsic value truly is. I have a bull thesis for each one of my investments, and when things are tough, I remind myself daily why I own these companies. It's kind of just like bathing. It's a great thing, but we need to do it every day. Your investments are going to stress test you mentally. If they haven't yet in the past, they will sometime in the future. Having the conviction in your positions will allow you to hold through some rough times and even buy more. Remember, there's a company behind every ticker symbol, and when a stock price misbehaves, as long as the company is on the right trajectory, sooner or later, the stock price will follow. Thank you so much for watching, and let's finish the video with a portfolio review. Currently, the portfolio value sits just over $83,000, and as I mentioned in the video, the portfolio has been down. Now, this number here is a little bit lower than it actually should be. When the cost basis information transferred over into Fidelity when I moved my brokerage account, some of them were a little bit off. So this is still red, but it's not quite negative 6% like it says so here. Nevertheless, it's at times like this when the portfolio is down that you need to understand what you own and be confident in why you own it. It's a recurring theme in my videos, but it's so true. When you understand what you own, you can continue to buy more when the price is down. This is key to increasing your long-term returns. Anyhow, if we move up, we can see Corsair Gaming has rebounded a little bit. It's currently trading just over $26 a share. They reported earnings this week and they were disappointing. However, they had pre-announced their earnings ahead of time, so people were kind of expecting what was coming. Because the bad news was already priced into the stock, it has actually traded up a little bit since reporting earnings. My other huge holding in this portfolio is Tattooed Chef, and they're going to be reporting earnings this next week, so we'll be looking out for that, and needless to say, the results of those earnings will have a big impact on this portfolio's performance. I'm not so concerned about what the share price does in response to the earnings. The biggest thing I'm looking for is just the company overall moving in the right direction. I want to see some decent numbers as well as good outlook. I do expect there to be some supply chain and logistics issues, so if profitability in the short term or revenue generation in the short term is impacted by that, I'm not too concerned about it. Mostly, I just want to see that the future is bright and the management team is taking advantage of the things that they have and the acquisitions that they've made to grow the business and set it on a good trajectory. I'm going to end the video here. I'm not going to go over all of my other positions, but I am very confident in what I currently hold, and I'm happy with where the portfolio is at right now. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and consider subscribing. Until that next one, peace.